I saw a post the other day that said people aren't spending too much on things. They're just not getting paid enough to be able to pay for the things they need, much less want. And that sat with me. Of course, there are some people who do spend too much on things, but the way the world is going right now, sometimes it feels hard to keep up with finances unless you have a high-paying job or several streams of income. So today, I want to share details on how much we spend on a monthly basis as a family of 3 in Jamaica, on the North Coast in Ocho Rios, to be exact. I'm going to be talking about our basic survival expenses like food, rent, and utilities, and I'll give ballpark numbers for things like transportation and entertainment. At the end, I'm going to share the overall total, so if you're living outside Jamaica or in Jamaica but you want to move to the North Coast, keep watching. Starting with our second biggest expense, rent. At present, we live in a 2-bedroom apartment, and for it, we pay 60,000 Jamaican dollars. That is 375 US dollars. We have an air conditioner in both bedrooms, a water heater, a tiny washroom area, a patio, plus an ocean view, which I love a lot. Unfortunately, our living room and kitchen are one, but we make it work regardless because we don't plan to live here forever. When I just moved to Ocho Rios from St. Andrew on my own and I was living by myself, I had a big 2-bedroom apartment, and that was only $45,000. That's 280 US dollars. It also had an ocean view, and I could see the cruise ships coming in the mornings, but the drawback was that it wasn't in an ideal neighborhood. It was central, but it was not ideal. I was always just one taxi away from everything that I needed to do and everywhere that I needed to get to. Our biggest expense is food. We don't eat out much, if ever, because that would cost us even more. So we cook our own food and we go to the market weekly. We prefer to eat fresh foods and we limit our processed food intake. We spend at least $8,000 at the market every week, and then we spend about $15,000 inside the supermarket. That does include things like toiletries and cleaning items, things to wash the dishes, but that's a total of $23,000 weekly, which is $92,000 monthly, and that's surprising to me. I did not notice that until I was making this video, but that is 560 US dollars. Whenever we shop at PriceSmart, it's way less because it eliminates the need to go to the supermarket weekly. We would get things like rice, sugar, flour, mackerel, baked beans, and such in bulk, which can easily bring our food bill down to $60,000 per month. That is 375 US dollars. Next is utilities. We don't pay for water, and I didn't at my previous apartment either. That's a very common thing in St. Anne, but for light, we pay anywhere between $8,000 and $18,000 depending on how much we use the air conditioner and the water heater. It's usually $10,000 if we don't use the water heater at all, which, to be fair, we don't really have to do that because it's hot here anyway. I mostly just used that when my daughter was just born so that she wouldn't really have a shock to her system with the cold water, but that is 62 US dollars monthly. We buy cooking gas pretty much every 2 months based on our cooking habits, and it's about $4,500 for a 25-pound gas refill. So I would say we spend about $2,250 on that. That's 14 US dollars. By the way, what's this thing with gas finishing on a Sunday? I am pretty sure that the gas man makes most of his money on a Sunday, because every time our gas ever finishes, it's always on a Sunday. But a very smart thing to do is to have a backup gas pan, so that if the gas finishes, you can just replace it with that one, and then before the month is out, you just go ahead and replace the one that finishes. See what I'm saying? But anyway, we use Star's internet, and that's $4,500 per month. That's 28 US dollars. There are service providers like Flow and Digicel in Ochi, but they don't run lines to where we live, so that's why we use Stars. Their service is pretty good. The only drawback with them is the fact that they don't have an online portal that you can pay through. You have to actually go into the office to make a payment. On car gas, we spend roughly 20,000 Jamaican dollars every month. That's 125 US dollars, and we have a very fuel efficient car, so that helps a lot. Car loans in Jamaica can be as low as $40,000 per month, but if you buy a car cash, you don't have to worry about that. Car insurance can start at $120,000 per year, which is $10,000 per month, while fitness and registration are about $10,200 and $12,000 respectively. That would be about $1,850 together on a monthly basis. That's 260 US dollars total on a car if you finance it, and $136 if you buy cash. Our daughter breastfeeds and eats out of our plate now that she's having solids, so we don't really need to buy extra food for her just yet. We get her pampers from overseas. We have been graciously blessed with a family member that provides those for us, so that's not an expense to us. That brings our basic survival expenses to 190,600 Jamaican dollars. That's 1,186 US dollars. If you take public transportation though, that's entirely different depending on how far you live from where you're going. For someone that lives in a central area, it's about $200 per taxi ride, which is $1.25. And please don't get mad at me if I got this number wrong, because I don't really take the taxi anymore. So I might be a little bit off on that, but it's not gonna be more than probably about $300 depending on where you're coming from. Some areas you will have to take more than one taxis to get to where you're going, and probably even a bus, so it could end up costing you more. On average, we try to save about $20,000 per month for ourselves and $10,000 for our daughter. That feels doable for us, and whenever we find that we can save more, we save more. That is 50,000 Jamaican dollars, which is 311 US dollars. Entertainment for us looks like taking a drive to Portland, and we budget about $30,000 for that, which is 187 US dollars. So when we save and take a road trip once for the month, our expenses go up to $270,600, which is 1,684 US dollars. There are other expenses that we would rather to keep private, so I didn't add them to this list. And that would be unique to your lifestyle. So if you're the type of person who likes to go out or you're the type of person who runs a business and you have to pay for a website, or you have a bunch of subscriptions, then those are expenses that you would have to know about and add to your budget on your own if you would like to live a life in Jamaica or move to the North Coast. Yeah, so I hope this was insightful for someone. If you have any questions or video requests, leave them in the comments down below.